This is a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or girl. Ooh, you see, man made the car to take us over the road. Man made the train. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Purpose and passion loading. It's my time.
Do it. We up.
Yeah.
Welcome.
We live.
We live, man.
Happy Friday, y'all.
Happy Friday.
I'm
Friday.
glad today is Friday for
Wait,
real.
Listen,
didn't this week went by pretty quick.
No, it needed to be quicker.
You think?
Yes. It did go quick though.
Really quick.
It did. I would admit it went quick. But when we got Friday, I was like, thank God it's Friday.
I agree with that. So happy Friday, y'all. Welcome to the King's Cutting Board. I go by Victor Vaughn. The gentleman sitting to my left is
Bruce Bailey, choir boy.
the young lady sitting to his left is
Paul.
Coach Princess D.
the boss of bosses, the godmother.
Y'all not gonna do that because when y'all start saying all that, y'all make me feel old, and I'm not that old.
Our executive director. You're not old at all.
Thank you.
You are. You do think you're the boss of us, though.
Right.
I am.
You think you're the oldest.
No, I'm the boss though.
Anyway.
You make us better. We appreciate you. So happy Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Please know that we appreciate you tuning in, whether it's live or whether you're catching us on a replay. We realize you could be doing anything in the world with your time. We don't take it for granted that you choose to spend some of it with us. This podcast, we were very, very intentional about. We wanted to set out to do, say, and show something different than what the world, especially social media, tends to show us.
Absolutely.
Especially as it pertains to relationships, in particular as it pertains to relationships between Black men and Black women. So please know our purpose for coming together is to create new norms. The young lady to our left deserves all the credit for bringing us together.
Facts.
After she got married, she would often talk about how much her husband and I had in common, how much she thought about, and how people needed to hear our perspectives as it pertained to life, love, and relationships. And we said if we were going to do it, it had to be different, because here's what we know when you look, especially at social media or so many common conversations that happen in our culture, they're so negative, right? They're what men don't do, what women won't do, what you're willing to not do, right? A lot of finger pointing. And when we came together, what we said is that we wanted to create new norms. We wanted to create dialogue, bring perspectives that cause people to lean in, right? To really dig in and listen to each other, talk to each other far more than at each other. We are a lot of things, but what we are not is clickbait. We're not going to sensationalize anything. We're going to give our own individual, unique perspectives in the hope that they positively impact other people. Sometimes it's going to be funny. Sometimes it's going to be controversial.
Sometimes
we're going to be pissed off and pound the counter. We're going to get in trouble with our executive producer.
Most of the time.
I hope not.
Most of the time.
But please know that everything that we talk about, first and foremost, we're partakers of. These conversations are extensions of the ones that we have amongst ourselves, right? And we always make sure that we do our homework in an effort to positively impact other people. So with that said, tonight we're going to continue a conversation. It got so much positive response, right?
Well, you have to pause and give Caprice a shout out.
Oh,
Don Chico.
Yes.
Right.
Good. That's why you
Absolutely. And forgive me.
Yeah, let everybody know he fired.
Powerful.
You're wrong.
He is not
He got
fired.
put off this show.
Caprice,
Last
aka
week,
Don Chico. What's up, homie?
Last week was your last week. We will sincerely miss you.
You're wrong for that. Don Chico has some business to take care of.
I
He's
replaced him.
still family.
I replaced him.
Coach been trying to fire Caprice every week before we even started the
absolutely
damn
has.
podcast.
And she
I
invited
don't
him.
know where he came from.
Yeah, you do.
Did I invite him?
Yes.
He snuck in the.
Caprice,
He came in. He was a thief and a robber, like the Bible said. He came in. It's only one way you can come in.
It's
And he
terrible.
wasn't invited.
It's terrible.
Caprice, you grandfathered at home. We'll hold you down. You take care of your business. We'll miss you and we'll get with you in the next episode, brother. And Coach Princess D, thank you for keeping it honest, because we also want to remind you all to like, to follow, and to share. You can find us on Facebook at the Kings with an apostrophe S Cutting Board Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You can also find us on YouTube, which we're up and live on right now, at the Kings Cutting Board 2024. Again, please like, please follow, and please share. And so last week's topic was so good, we're running it back. It's a continuation. We found that we actually didn't have enough time to really talk about all the elements of the conversation. Got a whole nother. She like her mother. She tried to get on the set no matter what. That's Coach.
That's hilarious.
Coach's cat is trying to jump into the camera shot. And so last week we talked about blended families, the blessings and the challenges that go with blending families. And I have to say to you all that I wasn't prepared for as many people to be so in to the topic as they were, and for it to hit home with people on so many different levels,
Definitely resonated.
right from their childhood personal experience, right, to what they might be living out now and being married or remarried or considering being remarried or blending families, right? And all of us kind of fit in one of those dynamics one way or the other. And so with that said, you always keep us on track, man. So why don't you set the stage, kind of recap a little bit what we talked about last episode, and then bring us into where we're going to lead off this evening.
So we left off last week. We discussed common challenges faced by blended families. I won't kind of get into all of what we talked about. You guys can go back and catch that on the last episode. But we left off with loyalty conflicts, different parenting styles, integration issues, resistance from children, communication breakdowns. And I think I want to stop there, because tonight what I want to kind of really dive into is the importance of open communication. But even before we hit that, I really want to start off tonight with what you opened us up with. And you have brought something to our attention. You were reading something, how I think folks said it was no handbook, or it's a messed up situation. This whole integrated, this blended family. Did you recall?
Yes. But before you get there, can you just give a quick context as to why we're here, in case we have some viewers that wasn't here?
Absolutely.
Real quick.
So we had all of us actually discovered that some way, shape, or form had some experience with the blended family.
Yes.
It actually was a topic that was brought up by Caprice early on, and we chose not to dive into it at that time because we understand the sensitivity behind the topic itself. But as we progressed in our episodes and our content and information, we thought it would be great because there's actually some things that we can talk about within the blended family situation
so much
that even helped us, right? It was the very thing that we were afraid of to talk about in the first place. But then we said, you know what? Because we're afraid of it, we probably need to talk about it, right? We probably need to really exacerbate some of how this blended family situation, some of the misnomers, and just some things that I think all of us have not only experienced, but have helped us in managing the blended family. But go ahead, sweetheart.
No, well, I mean, it helped dispel the myths, to your point.
Yeah.
And that's why we really wanted to talk about it, because when the topic was brought to us, we was like, maybe not. Because there's some exposure that may take place that we may not want the public to be privy to. But then we thought about it. We said we can safely tackle that topic and dispel some myths that are out there when it relate to blended families. So back to what you were referencing before you gave that foundation. Thank you very much. And it's actually titled in that section. So here it is, and I'll read it. It says, there really is no honeymoon stage in a remarriage. when there are kids involved. It is more like jumping right into the war zone. The reality is you both enter into this union with the best of intentions, right? But maybe even a heavy dose of guilt. But no matter how much preparation and research you do, the true reality of the marriage can only unfold once the vows are stated and everyone is under one roof. And it is kind of a mess, and it is so difficult, but also with a huge amount of joy and gratification. That's what we're searching for, right? I will be honest, and I was completely underprepared for how hard blending a family would be. It wasn't even the dynamic of me and my new husband. It was everything else.
Facts. Let me tell you.
So many people and logistics and things to do. And I'll start right there.
I'm going to tell you what's crazy, right? Me and Di used to always, we still actually say it playfully.
Mm-hmm.
If it was just me and you,
yeah.
If it was just me and you,
well, let's be realistic, and we can use that as some of the foundation, because when it relates to a blended family, right? If it was just me and you, man,
you're right.
Most often the challenges in relationships is because the couple allow external
absolutely
to impact the relationship.
It definitely is.
The external factors. But going back to the blended family, please. This is why you have to connect, right? Connect to whoever you're involved with, connect with the relationship, connect every part of the person you're involved with. How do you connect? What are those factors in? I think you're going to lead to it, because effective communication is one of those things.
Definitely. I think, and I think we all probably can share the same sentiment about the importance of open communication in any and all relationships.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's equally as important, and I think probably more so important with this blended family situation, because it's so much to navigate, and then it's so much on the line, if you will. Right. Because it's probably unlike any other relationship, right? Mm-hmm. Where you have your kids involved, her kids involved, now our kids involved. You have,
but I'm thinking about it beyond kids. You got parents involved.
I was going to say all that. Yeah. I was going to say all that. This is often what happens. This is what happens.
I said, right? We're not doing that tonight.
But you're right, though. You're right. And I think that's why I wanted to kind of really dive into this open communication piece.
Yeah.
Right. So let's start there. The first.
Can I just say this real quick? Because what hit me is that it's like a meme or even a TikTok circulating. Remember with the guy going to the car, you got the guy, the wife, and the girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And you were like, I don't know if it's the wife or the girlfriend. And they were all going towards the car, and the girlfriend sits up front. And they
okay.
Who is wrong in this situation, right? And the reason why I'm thinking about a blended family from that aspect is because there are some things that you have to set in place, right? Some factors you have to set those expectations, which is why we're getting into, what did you title it?
Open communication.
Right, open communication, because it has to be established. Everybody's communication don't look the same. Right? Because even Bruce and I talked about that scenario and said, what will happen? He said, well, babe, first of all, you wouldn't get in the front seat before my mom does. That's correct.
Yeah.
But I said, but what if I do sit in the front seat? He said, well, then I'll be looking at my mother like, what's wrong? Because you have the right to sit in the front seat. Right.
That's a phenomenal.
And he said, I would check
that's
my
a good
mom.
answer. I mean, I was stuck for a second.
He said, I would check my mom. And I said, babe, but I wouldn't feel comfortable with you checking your mom in front of me, right? But guess what? Had we not had that discussion, a situation could have occurred where either of us could feel uncomfortable or not be able to handle that situation. So when we talk about open communication, we're not saying wait until that situation arises. Times we're silent, because women often bring up conversations in the most unopportune times. We do it when we're heated, when an argument arises. But even in our quiet times, like I bring up scenarios, and I'm like, babe, how will we handle that situation? And this is how open communication takes place. It shouldn't just happen when the situation arises, but it should be consistent throughout the relationship.
But that's a part of the blended family too, though. because you know you have, like you said, you got your parents, and then even just the
Everybody might not even feel
how you just responded to the whole scenario.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to have this open communication, because that could lead to something that could be
really
real. It could be real touch and go, right? So,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. When you understand how to navigate through these different scenarios, you know, and the different positionings and placements and things of that nature, it can only come by open communication.
And to your point, that's something that has to be established early,
up front,
and
often.
Because what most likely would happen in that scenario that y'all talked about, that as if you as the wife felt some type of way, all too often the woman would never say anything, because who's gonna check a man on letting his mother, you know what I mean? But as to your point, she does have the right of way.
Absolutely.
Literally, biblically.
Period.
Yeah, but some like kids won't receive that the wife has first precedence over, you know, the man's interest. Some family members don't. Like my mother would never want to hear that my husband comes before her. Never.
Well,
but let's go.
It's the truth.
Let's go.
I mean,
let's go.
But I think also what's important to understand is that there's literally, like we talked about raising kids, it's no handbook to now navigating in a blended family.
But that leads me to this. If you're in a relationship with somebody, let y'all two create that handbook.
But that's what I'm saying. So, and that's why there should be open conversations, but it's going to have to be perpetual. It's going to have to be perpetual.
Yeah.
Right. It can't be a one-time conversation, because if I let that ride, then something else going to slide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I lose all respect.
Exactly.
And to the point of it being upfront, early, upfront, and often, right? Because it builds you that what's the term that I want to use? It sets a tone, right? Where the understanding, right? So even if you miss or you mess up, right, you have this track record of proactively talking about, coming to somebody, say, babe, this is what I want. What do you need? What can I do? Right. So in the because we're all gonna miss at some point, right? But you got enough good grace built up so that person hopefully doesn't take it personally, or more importantly, gives you the benefit of the doubt. Right. Even though this hurt me, I know he didn't mean to do this. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is
exactly.
Which is why it's so imperative that we have this open communication, because as we know, open communication up front and often builds trust.
No doubt about it.
And the first thing, in my opinion, one of the first things you want to do in this new system, this new navigation, is you want to build trust amongst each other, right? I want to be able to trust you. My kids want to be able to trust you. My mom, my parents want to be able to trust you, and you want to also be able to trust them, right? So I think it's important that we have this conversation and allowing everyone to kind of express their thoughts. And so even that scenario that you gave, hey, Ma, we need to sit down, Ma.
Right.
You know, we need to discuss what happened today.
But guess what you're doing? You setting the expectation not just to the person you're involved with, but everybody else around.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna tell you the other thing this makes me think of, man. So how critical it is, right? That we not just love the people that we love out loud, right? But that you love them on purpose, with purpose in mind. There's too much at stake, right?
Facts.
For me to be with somebody just because she's pretty or just because she's smart.
Yep.
Because when you look at all the stakeholders in it, right? We already talking about mothers, children, right? Fathers, pastors, church family members. So all of these people that can be positively or negatively impacted by whoever you choose to be with and blend with. So that has to be something bigger than he makes a lot of money or she's really pretty. Or whatever factors. To me, it has to be, right? We talk all the time about the things that we talk about where we're not necessarily a Christian platform. It's who we are, it's how we are. We're all believers. Caprice being Muslim, we're all people of faith. And so that's going to come out. And to me, there's some decisions that are far too important to just be left to chance or opinion alone. And no bigger, no more impactful one than choosing to be with a spouse. If that's something I haven't heard from heaven on, it's not happening.
Exactly.
It's not happening.
Bro, I agree, bro. I know one of the first things that benefited our relationship is early on, we knew we had to set some expectations, right? We because I used to always say, if we don't set an expectation, why are we expecting anything?
Right.
right?
So we say something that belongs on a t-shirt. For real.
So I think once we build this trust, right? Once we have these conversations, it's going to be equally important for us to clarify these expectations.
Absolutely.
Right? Talk about roles, responsibilities,
yes,
so we can mitigate the conflict.
Absolutely.
Right? That's the whole goal. What happens is if we don't have expectations, if we don't have this open communication, it tends to lead to confusion, right? Misunderstandings. And that's what tends to happen. And a lot of times we don't take the opportunity or the time to sit down and now clarify what the expectation is. Hey, Mom, the expectation for this scenario, in case it happens again, if we're going somewhere, why Dad doesn't mind you sitting in the front, that's her, she has the right to sit in the front. Now, I just want to point that out to you, right? Just to lay that out there so it won't be no surprises.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, at the same time, me knowing Di, she would probably say, now understand, Mom, you welcome to sit in the front anytime you want, right? But what it does, it now causes my wife to lean into me trusting, or her trusting that conversation, having an understanding that I've set an expectation and minimize conflict and confusion in case this scenario ever happens again, right? So if it happens again, now if you say something, we had already set an expectation. So you knew it was coming. You knew it was amount of time, right? But we also have the expectation of Mom saying, well, I'm gonna get in the front because I know Di ain't tripping. And most times, probably never is she ever tripping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was just good to set that expectation.
No, that's a beautiful thing, though. The other thing that came to mind when we're talking about communication and building trust, right, is another T word, is transparency.
Oh, man.
Right.
Yes.
So being in a newly committed relationship, I found myself in this space where, so I'm gonna keep it 100. Like, I'm saying stuff that I didn't want to say and didn't plan on saying it. Like, and I would just tell her up front, like, I had no intention on telling you this.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like the right thing to do. Wow. Right. You know what I'm saying? When you are, whether it's y'all talked at one point, right, about who told each other, I think you said you told them you loved them first.
She did.
And you got to be willing to, because that's just what you got to just be willing to be out there, because that's how you feel. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're doing yourself at some point a disservice by not saying it versus saying it. Yeah. My youngest daughter came to me.
Feeling it.
Yeah.
That part. My youngest daughter came to me not too long ago, and she was talking about a girl that she used to be friends with, and then they were no longer friends, right? But she was like, I don't even know why we're not friends anymore. And I talked to her and I said, well, how do you feel about it? She said, it's dumb. I feel like I'm spending more energy not speaking to her than just saying hi. Mm-hmm. And right. And so in relationships, when we don't have trust, especially when we've had previous experiences, failed marriages, failed relationships, where we're holding on to things, you can't effectively communicate like that. Yeah. You have to. Loving somebody is literally giving them the ability to crush you, right? But hopefully, because you're in it on purpose, you trust that they won't. Yeah. But it can't be 100. Yeah. You understand? If you don't put exactly how you feel out there, even if that puts you out on a limb where you're saying stuff first.
I'm gonna say this, because the power to define is the power to fulfill. Right. One thing I keep hearing as you all are as we are talking or engaging, is people lack the ability to move past or understand the dynamics of what it takes to be successful in blended families, because they lack understanding connection. They don't see the benefit and connected to that person. Like you said, they would rather exhaust all their energy and time being angry at that person versus letting everything go to connect. And that's the thing, when it comes to like mental health and mental illnesses, they all derive from people isolating themselves and disconnecting from society. They disconnect from their very existence, right? And people don't understand the value and the life that we receive for one another when we connect, or when we understand, or when we are willing to lean in to connect. Like you said, at all costs, most people are finding methods to divide more so than finding methods of connecting. And if you think about it, sometimes people that have the most people around them that love them, they are the healthiest.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, spiritually, and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't want to make it deep or spiritual, but that's the enemy's job.
No, I actually got that on there. Emotional support.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's if you're not surrounding yourself with people that can emotionally support the whole circumstance and situations you're dealing with, it's gonna be hard to navigate any type of relationship. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, you were speaking to someone yesterday, and you guys were kind of talking about some similarities between some things that you guys dealt with respect to losing your sons.
Oh, lose your son. Okay.
Yeah, and she had mentioned that the support that you had versus the support that she had,
right?
And how crucial that was for you to be able to navigate through that moment. But that also leads to, we talk about those externals, right? Because that could have been a situation where if I wasn't and didn't have the capacity to be what she needed me to be in that moment for her,
right?
Not for me, but for her. Yeah. That could have caused a whole situation in our relationship, right? Where now she loses trust in my ability to be what she needs me to be when she needs me to be it.
So what you said segmented so perfectly into what I just wrote down, right? And so oftentimes in relationships, we misappropriate. And quite frankly, and this is going to sound inflammatory.
Facts.
But out of ignorance, we look for the wrong thing.
Facts.
Right. And so it's very common right now. And there's nothing wrong. How many women desire a man who's a protector and a provider? There's nothing wrong with that. How many men are looking for a woman who's submissive? There's nothing wrong. We've talked about all those things. But what is he protecting and providing for, especially primarily?
That's good. That's
right?
good.
And so often that's what he makes a year, right? And does he physically have the ability to make her feel safe? But if he's not providing an environment where she can be vulnerable and come and say, baby, this is how I feel. This hurt me. This is what I need. You're not providing.
Right.
If you're out here, you made a comment that was really profound and powerful when you were talking about the scenario when Dad's son came to you and said, don't hurt my mother. And you rightfully checked him on it. And so if he's providing financially, but all the while hurting her emotionally, you're not a protector and provider.
Exactly.
And if a man's primary goal and idea of submission is primarily her body, right, or her cooking dinner, not her heart, her spirit, her prayers, you understand what I'm saying? Her holding him down, then we're looking for the wrong things. And if we haven't set right expectations, then what the hell are we expecting?
And let me point this out because I think this particular piece of it, this emotional support piece, I think is more challenging for men. And y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, than it will be for women.
It is.
Right. And I think this is an opportunity for us as men dealing with women that we say we value and love, to have a greater understanding of what they need when they need it.
Absolutely.
And how they need it. And if you don't know, because some of us haven't been taught that, right? The truth be told, some of that. But if you don't know, here's an opportunity for you to, I promise you, you want to change the perspective or the environment, to your point, about some things that's going on with you and your lady. Ask her this one question. How can I be better for you in this moment?
That's a good one.
Right? And allow her to answer that question and give you what she needs for you to be.
Absolutely. Without getting defensive.
Without getting defensive.
Absolutely.
Because some of us are just, we'll just be like, well, she gonna be good. She gonna, because a lot of strong women, that are like that, this independent woman these days, we look at them as strong women who can take any and everything, right? I'm every woman.
Yeah.
Right. But in most cases, because of their makeup, don't miss the opportunity to now be the provider of their emotions in that moment, man.
I could be wrong, but I'm going to say, so to your point, that's challenging for us because in order for us to really truly be that as men, we have to go to a place in a space in vulnerability that's not easy for us, right? For you to be able to, and it's a matter of empathy, right? Because there's certain things, no matter how much we love y'all, we don't know what childbirth feels like. We can hold your hand and be there, but there's nothing that we can do to understand it. And so the greatest chance we have is our relationship with God and understanding what they need, because oftentimes we do speak different languages. However, if as men, we can't say to the women that we love, if we can't tell them with the same energy and ease what scares us as we can tell them what we don't like, then either we have work to do or you need to take a look at who you're with.
Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you another challenge though is when people look at it as if it's gonna be easy, right? They look at relationships that they want to mirror and feel like they don't go through challenges and that it's easy. And our pastors actually have a series called Marriage Made Easy.
Yeah.
Because marriages don't come easy. You got to make them easy. And that comes with that purpose and intention that you need to make the relationship work at all costs.
Yeah.
Right. And people may look on the externally and look at a good relationship or something they deem as a good relationship and say, I wish my relationship was like that.
Right.
Not recognizing they have the exact tools sufficient to make their relationship like that. And it may be some women listening like, oh, nah, my man, I've been like that. My man still won't change. Well, I'll just say this based on our discussion we had the other day about, I looked at Bruce to tell him how much I appreciate him, how much I appreciate his heart and the level of care that he has for me. And not just me, my life, every aspect of me, you know, that level of care. It makes me submit to him. Have I ever submitted to a man like this before? Absolutely not. And then he looked at me and he said, Don, I haven't always been like this. Because of how he is to me, it's hard for me to believe that. But guess what? He could be telling the truth. And oftentimes women will miss the opportunity to cultivate the man they need because they're looking for an overnight wonder. They don't want to make the man what they need. And it doesn't come with aggression.
It doesn't.
It actually comes with submission.
The man and or the woman.
Well, true.
Because a lot of times I think we go into relationships, right?
With this vulnerable.
With this expectation of who the person is and what this expectation should look like. Versus, hey, this is literally, I'm going into this with a blank canvas to some extent. You know what I mean? And I gotta figure out along the way how to grow this thing and pull out. Because a lot of times you may look at as a female, you may look at somebody else's man and be like, I wish my husband was like that. And the same thing with a dude, I wish my life, but you don't know what that man did to cultivate that woman to be like that. And then more importantly, are you willing to do
what it takes?
Yes.
Because this guy was work.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
You're so dramatic.
She is. But I think along the way, one of the telltale signs is you got to be able to adjust and adapt.
You do. And to me, right? So again, it comes back to the power and the purpose.
Yeah.
Because if you go into it with purpose, this is the woman that I'm supposed to, I'm certain.
Say that again.
Right. And so you're more willing to, you're more willing. It's almost like if you have a key ring full of keys, right? And you're trying to get into a lock. As long as you know the key for that lock is on this key ring, you're willing to go through sorting through the keys because you know eventually you're gonna get in. Versus if the right key isn't on the key ring, no matter how many times you try, it's not going to work. Right. And so the key has to be in the purpose itself. When you get into a relationship, when you get into a marriage with purpose, that's purpose filled, you know the end in the beginning.
Yes.
Right. And so you're willing to go through that process. You're willing to say same team. You're willing to be like, babe, you understand what I'm saying? Because you know that you're with the person that you belong.
And you're right. And so what we're not saying, and I want to point this out, don't hear what we're not saying, right? We're not saying that everybody deserves what we're talking about
at all.
And that's why you keep saying purpose.
I mean, deserve.
Right? Yes.
That sounds inflammatory.
But our relationships deserve. We create new norms. I wouldn't use the term deserve when it comes to relationships.
Well, we elevating it. We talk about purpose because we talk about, and especially in the context, and this is not necessarily that it always, because you can blend families and be boyfriend and girlfriend. So if I'm talking purpose, God doesn't put people together to be boyfriend and girlfriend. So we're talking marriage.
Right.
The Bible talks about a woman basically being the greatest gift that a man can be given.
Yes.
Be clear, as men, we're the sons of God. We're getting off on. I don't want to climb into the pulpit. But God isn't about to grant or gift his sons with just anything.
No.
And so to his point, everybody's not deserving. It doesn't mean that you
but
can't
here's
be.
the crazy part. Y'all being I don't know the word I'm looking for, but what I told him the other day when I was telling him how much I appreciate him is that my prayer and desire is always, God, give him favor.
Absolutely.
Bless him, because there's a level of gratitude I have that nothing that I have will be able to demonstrate how much or the magnitude I appreciate him.
Yeah.
So I said, I give it to God in prayer because I know God is able always cover him, keep him, but he pours that out of me. You know what I mean?
But I think that goes back to when we talk about everybody don't deserve that.
No.
I mean, if you got something different, please let me know. I just
feel like they have, because that's why we're giving tips, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like many people, because I'm not gonna say everybody, because we already know some vessels you can't use some vessels, right? But to me, most people can cultivate, can be the person they need to be to cultivate.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm more in the line of for a season, for a reason, or for a lifetime.
Gotcha.
When we talk about this purpose thing,
yeah.
you got to deserve this over here.
Come on.
You can deserve the reason. You can deserve even for a season.
Come on.
But do you deserve the lifetime?
Even the word of God says that we are not to cast our pearls amongst swine. So by that very definition, it shows that there are people that are not deserving our time, our energy, our love, and God forbid not the rest of my whole natural life.
I mean, you giving up.
Absolutely.
Just think about emotionally.
When no broke dude.
She's stupid. Just think about emotionally. He's so silly. Think about emotionally what you're giving up to be in any relationship.
Imagine if I would have been with a broke dude though, to give that up emotionally. No, serious.
I ain't even talking. So imagine all of what you have to surrender.
Absolutely.
Let me see. I think that's a better word for what I'm trying to convey. What you have to surrender an emotion to make a relationship work.
Your obligation.
Yeah.
Literally. For if we're talking the context of wife, right? A wife to submit herself to her husband. For a man to love his wife as Christ loved the church. Mm-hmm. That by itself is not something you sign up for lightly.
Facts. Especially
when you can have the majority of what the perceived benefits would be without doing that out here in these streets.
Facts. And I think all of what we're talking about, right, it falls right up under this open communication.
It truly does.
And I think one of the things that has to happen is it has to be an ongoing open conversation, often and early, with any challenges, any differences, any concerns that one another may have. Because all of this, and I like how you said it, and you know, we was kind of talking about this even early on in our relationship. While it's not easy, it's not hard. It's just different.
And that's so when you were reading what you were reading, I hated it because we have what we say and the words that we choose, right, play out over the course of time. And so to your point, not hard, challenging. You know what I mean?
It's different
because it sets a mind. It plays in your mind over. And you start going into a war zone. I'm like, I'm never gonna decree anything like that over myself.
Because we don't have to go through a war zone if we just yield. Let me read a text that I received from one of our viewers. Okay, and it's Lisa, by the way. No, it's Lisa.
Is she on?
She's watching.
Okay, cool.
So Lisa said, and thank you, Lisa, for chiming in.
Absolutely, we appreciate it. She stay tuned there.
She said the discussion tonight is confirmation.
Wow.
To her and her husband. We said in the drive. And Lisa, excuse me, I don't have my glasses. We said in the drive in lawn chairs in the drizzle, discussing how I continue to be what makes you smile and how to handle the past that we deal with the stuff that we deal with from our past. Oh no, she said PTSD that we deal with from our past. This is good stuff.
I agree.
So that's good because they have frequent conversations.
As you should, because ultimately what happens is you now, and this is that.
I know PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome. She typed it again. I just didn't have my glasses.
Thank you for the viewers. Some of them, probably like, what does that mean? But this is where building a strong relationship comes into play, right? And let me point this out as a tip in navigating in the blended family. Before you build the external relationships, make sure you unify and build
absolutely
that one relationship,
absolutely.
right? Because that's going to be the tale.
You might
That's
even
going to tell
have
it
to put a
all.
pause to other relationships.
I'm trying to tell you right now. Yeah, you gotta set some people down.
Yeah.
You know, and you gotta focus on just you and your partner, man.
We unified right here.
Yeah, we gotta be unified, and that goes back to what Victor said about setting the environment.
Absolutely.
Because what you're ultimately doing is also you're demonstrating unity, right? And more is caught than taught. So when you demonstrate this unity, you showing them this is a unified front. And for you to be a part of this unified front, there's some things that you're going to have to do different, because what you're not going to do is cause any stress, strain, or struggle in what we're trying to create right now.
Yeah. And he's the benefactor.
No doubt about it. Well, here's what's powerful. I'm glad you said that, right? Because a blended family, I wrote this down. A blended family gives us the ability to show our children and anyone else who observes us the ability to see love demonstrated differently.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So not just your children, but I give y'all props all the time for how y'all love each other out loud, right? Not just in our podcast, how I benefit from getting a chance to see y'all not worried about being perfect, but being intentional about how y'all love each other, figuring it out, factoring out, going through all these ups and downs, things that I've unapologetically stolen from that I now model, right? And how I love the woman, and that I love the way that I love her.
A lot of stuff that we do too.
Wow. So it's I mean, that is the powerful. That's the power in it. It's a unique demonstration of love that other people get a chance to see.
One of the things you need to always do with your spouse is stay connected. Any moment you feel disconnected, physically. Any moment that something occurs in that day, you need to address it right then and there. And revisit it and say, we need to be connected at this moment. You don't want to let that disconnect occur too long. And
that's actually what I was going to get at next, which is another tip I think each family should incorporate, is creating a safe space where people can share their differences. Yeah. Let me say it that way, because I don't want to call them grievances. They can share their differences, right?
And they just be what it is.
Yeah, and I would say consider, especially early on, setting aside a time for your family to come together. Yeah. And we have these different conversations, right? For sure. Talk about some of the things that you were challenged with during the course of the week, maybe. Yeah. Right. Hey, Diana, she said this. I'm not quite used to that. Yeah. So, and then Diana having the opportunity to converse, and now they making these adjustments along the way. These compromises, right? And a lot of times I think it's important that we have these conversations because we come from like me and Diana, our parenting styles were quite different, right? And it was important for us to get on the same page. Even the other day, I asked her, we was talking about Drew, and I said, so babe, tell me how you would want to handle this situation so we're on the same page, right? I don't want to go in and do it my way. Right. I want us to be unified. But then when she said what she said to me, I said, okay, cool. I'm good with that. Yeah. Right. But then I said, so let me ask you this. What if this happens instead and you get the adverse effect on what you're trying to do? Right. So we have those type of robust conversations and with to determine how we want to handle certain challenges. And these are conversations that you and I have even before coming to the table with the rest of the family and then having that conversation. But I think that implementing conversations with time where you have these conversations and then implementing times where you have the family conversation, I promise you will be so beneficial to navigating and managing this blended relationship.
And that was part of the advice I gave yesterday, the example that you were using between me and this person. We were talking about some challenges and women, and I'm only speaking for women, men may do it too, but oftentimes women choose to bring up issues at the wrong time, right? You can't really, if the person is not listening, hearing, or in the facet where they do want to lean in, it's a bad time to have that discussion or conversation. Listen. So why not wait till we watching TV or we doing something where we're engaged? And I say, you know what? let me bring this situation up to you. What would you do? Or, just talk it out at that time. Yeah, the approach is everything.
It's pivotal.
Especially with men.
Especially with men. I ain't gonna lie.
So you bring up a really powerful point, right? That comes very naturally to you now at this stage in life.
Absolutely.
Good point.
Absolutely.
It had to be cultivated.
And so one of those other key foundational pieces, and we talked about this last week, is do you love, are you considering being with someone who has the ability to do these things? Are they healthy? Are they healed enough? Are they willing to have tough conversations? Are they willing to hear?
It's a tough question.
You understand what I'm saying?
Because some people may not, to your point, be equipped enough.
Right then and there.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
At all.
Some of us come from toxic, unhealthy environments where you didn't get to see mom and dad having a conversation, right? And working out their differences or what. There's nothing, but you have to understand that it has to be a prerequisite for this thing to be successful, to go get those skills. The same way you had to learn how to drive, the same way you had to learn how to change a diaper, you have to equip yourself with.
I think these type of conversations, right, would be apropos in the dating phase. I think it would be great to be sitting at dinner, and I'm not talking about.
That's a big decision.
You just come out the gate. You come out the gate.
Hundreds of questions.
I mean,
hundreds.
Literally, because you think about this, right? This is somebody you dating, and you really into this person.
Yeah.
Right. And you considering, okay, this might be something long term. Let me see how this go. You can start now having those type of insightful conversations surrounding. Hey, let me ask you this. I had an issue with my son the other day. Here's how I handled it. Right? How would you have handled?
I agree.
That
was the discussion I had with you.
You did. We did have those.
Like,
we did.
What would you do?
We did.
I asked early on in the dating stage. I asked, what was your family background like? Did you go with your mother? Did you go with
That's
your father?
important.
What was the household like? Have you ever been abused physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, sexually?
Right.
Has anybody ever put their hands on you? Right. Have you ever been cheated on? Right. All of these things and factors. Right. Talked about the things, not just wanting to know, but understanding how this person is equipped. Right. Yeah. What experiences have they been through? Because one of the other things that I wrote down, right, is that when you marry someone, you marry everything that comes with them.
Absolutely. But Victor, make sure you make it clear that those questions are just a gauge.
Absolutely.
Because people don't ever come out with the truth. You got to be smart enough to interpret those responses in order to measure whatever metric you're measuring.
Or hope that you get to the place of trust where there's real, true transparency. Because there were some things that I disclosed, right? That I didn't necessarily want to, but if I was going to get the desired result, if I was ultimately going to be at a place of trust, I shared something with y'all last week that people that have known me my entire lives don't know.
That's crazy.
But there's trust here. You understand what I'm saying? And so even in friendship, right, it parallels and models what it's like in a relationship. And so I let me say this, I went first with the transparency.
Well, my point of saying what I say is this. Sometimes I think I'm transparent with Bruce.
Yeah.
But I haven't even came to the level of comprehension about some things about myself.
Yeah.
Until a situation may have occurred. And I'm like, dang, Bruce, I'm jacked up. And he like, yeah, you are. And I was like, yeah. But like we have those.
I was thinking, I just
and I'd be like, dang, I never, knew that about myself. But I feel vulnerable enough to open up and have that conversation with him without him judging me or throwing it back in my face at the most bad time. But a lot of women don't deal with those. Yeah. Some men don't know how to love women through that.
And some women don't know what the hell to do with love like that. Because it's a whole foreign.
They'll run it right off.
They'll actually run from it.
Yeah. Tell me how women do that. Yeah. I gotta see it.
Well, we talked about it. People avoid what they fear.
I know,
and a lot of times you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see sometimes. So you're avoiding that. You're avoiding you.
In the past, I was actually with a woman who went back to a dysfunctional relationship because literally who I was and how I was, it literally felt too good to be true.
Absolutely.
She didn't trust it because she was accustomed to something completely different.
That happened to me in a prior relationship where I was dealing with a guy and I knew that I had just exited from a divorce and I was like, I'm no good for you right now. So I need to break this off. I knew I wasn't ready to settle down.
Some people are more comfortable with trash over treasure.
I don't know if it's that though.
But I think
it's what they're accustomed.
Well, some people. You said some people.
Yeah.
But I think in those moments, to your point, you also have to be honest with yourself.
No doubt about it.
You know what I mean? Because what you don't want to do is go into a relationship expecting this relationship to be all hunky dory. You know you jacked up, just coming out of divorce. You know you ain't ready. You know you ain't good enough for.
But you blame it on the person.
Yeah, and
you know you been had. I be telling Bruce that all the time. You know you been had those problems. You trying to act like it's me.
Cut it out. So
the same issues communicated as prior relationships.
But I mean I think that's another good tip, which is how to manage conflict.
True.
Right? Because in just like in any other scenario, you got to know how to problem solve. You're right. And a lot of people bring up the problem, but they won't talk about how to solve the problem.
Can I ask y'all this? I'm going to make an assumption, but I want y'all to confirm it. Because you all are purposed to be together. Are there things that you find yourself doing for and with him or for and with her that you wouldn't naturally do for or with somebody else?
Facts. Yeah.
But that's part of the
we talk about
that's part of the purpose.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what's hit my spirit every time you say purpose. Purpose is intentional. Like people think purpose gonna drop in there a lot.
No.
You make it purposeful.
No.
You make it purposeful. You recognize it's purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
But there's certain things that are involuntary, right?
Yeah.
So it is, while it's not easy, it's easier.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're with somebody you're not supposed to or designed to be with,
you feel that level of guilt.
Or right, you more inclined to go back and forth. Where you with the purpose you're supposed to be with, and you know what? You naturally fall into this patience, understanding, love, because it's intended
you need to get yourself
specifically for that person.
Yeah. You okay today? You get some stuff off your chest. So
no, but here's my point, because to Victor's point, it's absolutely true. Because like with us, there was a time I packed my bag. People don't know this. I packed my bag one day.
Yeah.
I was gone, Victor. I in my car drove away. And I knew in my head that he wasn't gonna call me. I was like, yeah, because Bruce don't play that. You know what I mean? Like he his cutoff game is strong.
I wouldn't have called.
Listen,
before I met you, I said we a lot of like. I'm not calling you either.
I was
gone, and I was like, I'm not gonna ever allow a man to disrespect me like this. That what I felt like was disrespect.
Right.
Whole time I was feeling stupid driving all the way up to my mother's house with this bag packed. Like, girl, if you don't get yourself together, I was like, I'm not going. Everything in me that he called. And I was just like, why did he call? I didn't want him to call because I knew that if I walked away, he wasn't gonna call.
That's the no mean yes.
but here's my point. It's almost like it's just so hard. I just want not hard, but relationships are different.
Go ahead and cry to drive our radio. Let it flow.
We didn't all cry on this show.
To get to the point or level that Bruce and I are at, it takes work.
It does.
Like a lot of work. We had to understand that. Well, in that instance, you knew that. If I knew that there was purpose, so I wasn't going to just walk away. Like,
but I'm gonna tell you what also it takes, and I'm just going to use me because we always talk about our personal faith. It also takes a level of being sensitive to the Holy Ghost.
No doubt about it.
You know what I mean? Because to your point, in the natural was like, oh, she got it. I mean, okay.
I mean, you know
what I'm saying? Like if you current it like that, you know what I mean? But then I was so convicted and like being dealt with in that moment that I could not call her. I could not allow her to continue to do, because again, both of us would have to take account for what just happened. Right. And her account is her account.
Yeah.
But I gotta give an account too. You follow what I'm saying?
But that's that equipping that comes with purpose.
It is. Let me finish.
That thing is specifically for her.
So I was ready to say, so my response was my responsibility.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And that's the only thing I had to be accountable for in that moment. So I didn't respond as if I was looking for a response necessarily.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure that I was obedient.
Yep.
Obedience is better than sacrifice. So for me, I said, you know what? As hard as this feels, because even when she came back, I was like, woo, young. I was
mad I had to come back.
And matter of fact, I don't even know.
It was
and you can tell me, I don't know if when she got back, I don't even know if we talked that night. I think it was like, I'm back, nigga. You know, and I was like, yeah, you back.
Still slamming.
You back.
I'm over here. God told me to come back.
Right.
But then we, you know, after we slept on it, you know, we woke up and it kind of subsided, and then we had a conversation. It was like, come on, we gotta be better than that.
That part. I'll never forget this. This is years ago. I was married, and my now ex-wife did something, pissed me off. And I was convinced that I was in the right. She was just wrong. I had a whole list. I'm like, and I'm in the moment. I'm like, she did bam, bam, X, Y, Z, and I'm talking to myself, right? Because I'm formulating how I'm going to position this to it. I'm trying to get past the anger, and as pissed off as I am, I said, but you know what I mean? I'm mad, but I love her, right? I said I love my wife, and the Holy Ghost said, like Christ loves the church.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, because it all of that was gone.
Yeah.
And so to your point about being equipped with the skills, right? The Holy Ghost, the emotional intelligence, the willingness, the transparency to set self aside so that love and purpose can win.
Yeah.
And knowing going into it who you're partnering with, because if they don't have that, please take into consideration once again, are you going to expose your children? Your mother, your father, right? The people that you love. That you talk about when y'all got together, you walked away from your church. The stuff that you're vested in. Are you really going to roll the dice?
Right.
Are you really going to roll the dice? Not understanding if the person that you about to do all this with is actually capable of doing it or not.
Facts. And which is still yet a part of this whole managing conflict.
No doubt about
it. Guys, this should not happen in front of your kids. Ever. But let me say this. Let me give the counter argument. If it does, make sure that the problem solving to whatever happens in front of your kids as well.
Come on, right? Because that's real.
That's real.
That's real.
Right. And they need to see both sides of that.
Absolutely.
Right. Because even when we talk about this blended family, we may have some of those challenges.
Absolutely.
Right. So we got to know what is the first partakers.
Yes.
Right. What does it look like for the first partaker?
Yes. Right.
So if we can give them that example and say, okay, if they can fix that problem, then we can fix this problem.
To your point, this was an epiphany for me, right? So I shared, right, just recently got into a loving, committed relationship. Prior to that, had never introduced my daughters to another woman. And the woman that I'm with now said something. I was like, yeah. And she said, because her daughter had never seen her with a man. And she said, but I believe my baby deserves to see her mother being loved, cherished, valued, and cared for.
Yeah.
And as a man, I didn't think about those things concerning my daughter, but I'm like, you're absolutely right. Right. And so to your point, in terms of what our children deserve to see, right? While you may trespass, while you may do something to get on their nerves, they deserve you to say, they deserve to see the apology on the back end.
Yep.
Baby, I'm sorry. I didn't take this into consideration.
Yep.
That helps our sons become men, right? That are emotionally intelligent, that are transparent, right? That are responsible. And it helps our daughters see, right, how they're valued, how they're cherished, and what they should expect in terms of how they relate to men.
Facts. This has been good. So what give us or give our viewers a few key takeaways from this episode last week and this week. What are some key takeaways for you?
Well, I'm gonna give a key takeaway from today, which is what we started out with saying, how there is no cookie cutter.
And I want you to do the same.
Absolutely.
There is no cookie cutter relationship.
Facts.
There is no textbook about blended families. We can talk about how we managed or navigated through our personal situations, but each situation is different. The same processes that I applied in my prior relationship or marriage are not applicable here. And while they worked in my prior marriage, I'm not going to force them here, but rather, like you said, we set the expectation, create a clear path of communication, establish actual tangible communication channels, like
Facts.
not just
a strategy to communicate.
Like,
yes, man.
When is a good time? And you talk about it. When is a good time to communicate?
Absolutely.
Because everybody doesn't even have the same level of comprehension.
Facts.
How should I communicate?
Yeah.
You know,
when should I communicate?
When should I communicate?
How should I
communicate? Do you like me to draw in pictures? Do you like me to do sign language?
All that.
Like I talk to Bruce sometimes. Like you gotta establish that thing. but that's all I wanted to say, because we always say that while we specialize in our relationship, we're not relationship specialists.
By no means.
We can't tell you how to manage your relationship with Cheryl.
Right.
You have to establish the foundation for that.
Facts.
We're not even broadcasting our relationship to say, here's how everybody's relationship
Facts.
should be.
Facts.
We're just saying what works for us.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. What you got?
I agree. So, I mean, it's much the same. Start with purpose, right? You owe it to yourself to determine whether the person that you want to partner with is equipped to be who it is that you desire them to be. And if not, it's okay, but go get the skills.
Could I don't mean to cut you off. Could I interpret that, or could I interject as having a part of your dating strategy that has some, if you're considering this person long term, right, or this purposeful relation, or this purposeful dating, to have some, because I actually like that. I wish I'd have knew it early on. While we did some of it, I wish I still would have had it in mind to have some outline strategy about some conversations that you want to have while in the dating phase.
And prioritize it and make it make sense. Like, what question? What's important to
you? What's really important?
Another very practical one is a cheat. It makes for, if you're with the right person, a great date night. There are relationship cards out there. Right?
We got a few pairs.
We got a couple.
You know what I mean?
It's train ride.
It's literally a deck of cards that goes through different scenarios.
Bro, it is so helped us.
It's phenomenal.
Like,
you know what I mean?
I can't. Wow.
That's where I started.
We use it on a few occasions.
Yeah, we did early.
It's dope. That was the foundation for the bond that I built, and this open communication started with that.
Yep.
And it's sometimes you flip the card, you like, damn, this one is uncomfortable, but you understand? So that was a good key. So purpose, are they equipped? Transparency, we just talked about, and then not just communication, but continuing communication. The person that you're with is going to evolve, and what they need today is not necessarily going to be what they need tomorrow. So just be committed to the betterment, right, and the furtherment of the relationship itself.
All right. So I'm gonna summarize a little bit, then I'm gonna get into my takeaways. So make sure when you have these conversations with your partner and or your children, the blended family, if you will, make sure that you're using listening techniques, right? Write some stuff down. I know that's one of the things that attracts Di to whether or not I'm really attentive to what she's trying to convey and planning to do something about it. Right. That demonstrates to her, he ain't just here hear me. Like he wants to know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Write some stuff down.
You said send me a list of gifts. Send me a list of this.
Absolutely.
Again, setting expectations.
Yeah.
Like, he not gonna give me what he think he want from me.
Come on now.
He like send me a list of what you want.
I've done that before. It didn't work. So like,
I forgot
an easier way. I got an easier way. You know what I'm saying? So make the list. Express. Don't be afraid to express what you're feeling.
Absolutely.
Right. That's one of my other tips. I mean, for men, it's difficult. It's super challenging for men. Right. But I would say for the man, certainly don't be afraid. But to your point, what makes it somewhat more difficult for us in some cases is because we're afraid of the response that we're going to get. Sure. So it's not necessarily that we're afraid to share what we're feeling. We're afraid to get back what we're feeling may not help how we're feeling. So just keep that in mind. Set up these strategies where you guys come to the table. And then I have 3 takeaways. Okay. Be patient, be flexible, and be committed.
Good.
Yeah. Patience, be flexible, and be committed. Because All of those things are going to be required when we talk about navigating and managing this blended family. And just like everything else almost in life, when we're committed to one another, we can't necessarily determine how long this thing going to take to work itself all the way out. You know what I mean? So you're gonna need patience, you're gonna need flexibility, and you're gonna need commitment.
That's good. No, I mean that's it, man. When you think about it, and we talked about this, right? For us as believers, we're the ultimate blended family, like literally being that we say engrafted in, right?
Oh Lord, you know we at the end. Made.
We still got time.
So it's a perfect example. You know what I mean? And for us, right, the God that we believe in, our Lord and Savior, is the perfect demonstration of grace, right, of love, right, of patience. You know what I mean, and communication. And so we have a good model to go by.
And for those of you who are viewing, jump into the group and give us some of your key takeaways from tonight.
For sure.
And let us know, give us some feedback. What are some things we talked about that you may be personally experienced in, right? Or you've had some challenge with, and how did you handle those challenges,
and
right?
Let me just say this. We can go in and give y'all scenarios of things that actually happen as it relate to our blended family.
Facts.
But we're protecting the identity of the innocent. So
I ain't protecting nobody. We just gave you the spirit, but even with the mom,
we can give
the mom situation that has happened.
But you understand, people got some real scenarios going
on. Absolutely.
Relate to blended families.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of hard to make a decision. And my point is, it's so many different deciding factors.
Facts.
Because, like I said, everything that worked for us may not work for everybody else. Like you saw the advice I gave yesterday. I never tell people what I feel like will work for me. You really got to determine and assess your situation to determine how you should move.
Man, and then even to that point, some stuff may not even work.
But I'm also thinking
I'm just saying, if you when I'm talking about the blended family, if you got a baby mother, baby father.
But I want to give a realistic example. Look at the relationship.
And that wasn't reflecting on me. I don't want my daughter's mother to think.
No, because that's like
I have a family member that's going through that right now.
Yes, that's prevalent.
The thing is, think about the relationship I have like with Drew's dad, right? We all are a unit. He respects Bruce so much that he's texting both of us, when it relates to Bruce. I mean, Drew, because
when he graduated, that was a big moment for me because I was standing to the side while they took the picture with Drew before his graduation, and he was like, "Come on, Bruce, you're part of this too." I'm like,
it takes a community, but I think about the level of support that Drew has in that. You know what I mean? Like Drew really don't miss out because he got a bonus dad. And I won't even say a bonus dad because Bruce is almost like his best friend. Like he's calling Bruce all day.
Requires a level of maturity. You know what I mean? To set aside. Because it is realest, rawest form from a male ego perspective. Right? A woman's child for a man is a reminder that the woman he loves has been with somebody other than him. That don't sound pretty. That don't sound nice.
She got 6, y'all. That's all I'm saying.
That don't sound nice, but that's real. And I say that to say that a man,
because somebody may be challenged with that, bro.
Because when we talk about a blended family giving other people the ability to see a real demonstration, typically we love the children that we've created because we're supposed to, right? But when you choose to love a child,
it's so much strength in that, though, Victor. That's the irony in it. Correct. So powerful. For a man to look at it like, no, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna share no man with another child. For a man to accept another child to that level,
yes,
I love this man.
And he and I've never had this conversation, but let me take it a level deeper, because I hate either men or women who consider a woman and her children a package deal.
Right.
I absolutely know that he loves your sons in and of themselves, not because they're your sons, but because he genuinely loves them individually.
Listen to me. There are some family members that this guy has not accepted yet. So I know it ain't because of me. And he like, nope, I ain't doing it. But here's
How
the
you gonna
thing.
put that on the air? Yeah?
Now, I'm gonna flip it for a minute.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
even if we not talk about Bruce, but think about Norman. Norman don't feel slighted that he has Bruce support. Since me and Norman was dealing with each other, it was almost like it was always a family type thing, right? Because we would never had a relationship.
You said it's funny that you said
he used to
you
have
said something
his
to him the other day, yeah.
women that he was dealing with would help take care of you. You hear me?
Yeah.
Like bring stuff that he needed, but he was just that genuine type guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's so funny because even now, like Drew's brother's mother, Norman, that he has, Norman's other son's mother.
Right.
She look at Drew like he her child.
Facts.
She spoils him to death, and I'm like,
Facts.
you're gonna stop spoiling them. But I'm only putting those factors out because if children knew the benefits they can get outside of accepting
Drew
that other person, Drew be working it. You hear me? He got all these parents or his grandparents. He works it. He not looking at it like, you ain't my mother, you ain't my father. Nope. Hi, Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce, you got some underwear I can wear.
Yeah. That's what all best was all.
Blended
And I said, matter of fact,
I love you like that.
Yo. So
that's how comfortable he is.
We'll put this out there since we coming to a close. So Drew walks in the door one day, right? Me and Di, we just laying up, we chilling, right? We was watching TV or something. He walks in the room.
We chilling.
We chilling. You know, we in the bed, we watching. He come in the room. You got some drawers I can wear? I said, bro, you
wait.
you had
everything. He sat up in the bed.
I said, hold on. I said, bro, if you cross the line, you take this thing down too far. You my guy, no. Bro, you're not gonna be what just happened? What just happened, bro?
His drawers.
Hilarious.
But he didn't mean no used drawers. He always keep packs of underwear. He told me, let me put that out there for my baby. He was talking about packs of underwear.
I'm glad you clarified that too.
Yeah. He was talking about his used drawers.
I should have been like, go on in there right there.
Don't get the good ones.
Right.
Get the ones that got the little dingy.
Yeah.
But blended families though. But and the thing is, sometimes, as parents, for me, I had 6 kids. I don't want to really be another mother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when it comes to blended families, I'm not trying to take over another woman's role or position.
Right.
I create my own space.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, you got to create your own space. I don't want to be, and that's why I said there's no cookie cutter way, because we all are different. We all parent different, and we all are different type of children.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we shouldn't have expectations and make that person be like anything we've experienced. You create your own space.
And for those of you who are children in the blended environment, it's equally important that you set yourself to display or convey what your role and responsibility is, right? For example, I'm not going to say most. A lot of times you'll hear children in those type of environments say, but that ain't my mother. Well, they're not trying to be your mother. That ain't my father. They're not trying. So if that's the case, say, hey, listen, you're not my mom, but here's the role and expectation for our relationship. You know what I mean? Because again, I promise you, it's going to be beneficial to the relationship, both short and long term, because it'll mitigate any issues that you guys may be facing. Because that's a different type of mentality you got to take on for both parties.
Yeah. One time Bruce asked me, he said, well, how would you feel if your mom or dad had another spouse? Because my mom and dad are still together, right? I said, honestly, I think it was a time where I was hoping either or had it. Because, as a child, you want that extra bonus person. You want to spend the night away. You want to go on lavish trips. You want to go, you know what I'm saying? You want to do things outside. So I was like, I don't know if I would have been that type of child that would have been mad.
I think you would have felt differently going through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just in a moment of transparency, I will never forget.
But your parents weren't together, right?
They weren't.
Okay, but go ahead.
We talked about that.
I'll never forget the look on my daughter's faces the day that their mother and I told her that we were getting separated.
Oh yeah, that's hard.
It's hard.
It's
a mental.
It was hard for my children.
It was hard for my children.
Burned in my memory, and so it wasn't.
But is it hard for every child though?
Yes, I would say yes.
After the parents been together for
time. Now the bounce back
Mhm.
may not be as challenging for all.
Or unless it's so dysfunctional that they're actually relieved, but they traumatize in a whole nother way at that point. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Because you got to remember, children have their own reality, their own expectation for the relationship, regardless of how y'all argued, how y'all fussed, how y'all fought. They still never thought y'all probably would not be together.
But we got this. I have this couple that I have. I mean, not a couple. I have clients, hair clients, where I do their hair, whatever. Oh, the hair clients. But anyway, I'm trying to develop my thoughts right and talking it out at the same time. Right. But I got two hair clients, right? And they once said, and they're older, much older, and they once said,
that's crazy.
They still, and they're a bishop, they in church, right? But they still,
we talking older. We talking 80s.
Their fathers,
they 80s. They're in their 80s, bro. In their 80s.
And they was like, no, because it's just, no.
But one of them said no. Mm-hmm. The other one was like, was she cool? I mean, I accept her, but that's about it. And that's fine. But to just be like, nah, like that's crazy to me.
I mean, that's why I said you probably got to establish the relationship, because you know our situation, right? And I'm patient, so I'm not trying to force myself on anybody, right? Very, very. I mean, I probably was accused of forcing myself, but I'm not going to force myself on anybody. But nevertheless, I just think that if that opportunity come, we should always check in to establish the nature of the relationship. Because honestly, when you bridge that silence, it can almost be perceived as if I don't want that relationship, and that's not the case, because we had an opportunity.
Yeah,
and
that's facts. That's facts. I think this has been great.
It's been good, man. Tie bone in for us, bro. Bring us on.
Yeah. So I hope y'all got something from this, man. I really do. I think this probably was. We probably say this every week.
We do.
Probably one of our most profound and powerful episodes.
That's because Caprice wasn't here.
I'm gonna let this go.
Eddie the Bill over there.
I'm gonna let it go. But we appreciate y'all. Let me say that. Next week we won't be back. So what we decided to do moving forward is every other Friday.
Every other week.
So we won't be back the following Friday, but we will be back the Friday after that.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
So then every other Friday after that.
Then every other Friday after that. We got some new stuff coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
Real shortly, we're gonna be able to kind of get back to what we're accustomed to with the whole Facebook piece.
For sure.
We like it. We like that better, while we'll still be able to stream from other platforms. Facebook has been the one that's for us, it's given us the most engagement, the most participation in terms of us being able to engage with our viewers. So get ready for that. We got some new equipment coming in. Our producer has some new ideas for us, man. So we excited. We excited.
You want to plug what you do, man? You want to plug how you share your talent? I'll do it for you because you're a humble dude.
Yeah.
Right. So
I wasn't.
No, that's real. So especially for you all who might be in the DC to Maryland, Virginia area, please know that Mr. Bruce Bailey, aka Choir Boy, is not just a good but a phenomenal singer, a whole legend in these DC streets. He is one of the lead singers for a very, very dope band called Rhythm City. So if you guys have the opportunity, we were just out partying last night. By all means, come out.
Grown.
Great people, great environment, great vibe, phenomenal.
This platform is conducive for what we try to create.
No doubt about it.
So
yeah, check out Rhythm City. You can find them on social media, and they're performing more and more often. So come on out. You can meet us in person too.
Thanks, Coach Di. Can we thank her for joining us tonight?
First, let me ask the viewers to excuse us because the banner is the wrong title for tonight. We were talking about.
Oh wow, powerful! You didn't change it. Relationship pros and woes. Hallie is
that is not what it's talking about.
It's not.
All right.
You want to tell them what it is? Because thank you.
Blended Families.
But thank you for joining us. We appreciate your input.
You're welcome. I started
greatness with your presence.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be every other Friday.
She said she started not to. I knew that she couldn't turn down.
Swapping down last night. I'm not going to be going tomorrow.
Because I don't really. She loved this type of stuff, y'all. She loved it.
If I love it, I will be on it.
She loved this type of stuff, y'all.
David Ruffin over there.
Right, and I'll just leave it at that.
That's Coach Princess.
Appreciate it.
And we are the Temptation.
Okay, cool.
Solid night.
Don't call me that name.
We're not gonna call you that name. Not on camera. God bless y'all. Good night. And just remember.
Man, listen, all we want is some peace.
And a peace.
And a peace. Peace.
Later, y'all.
I want peace too.
Come get it. Come get it, y'all.